Shalom. First and foremost, I want to give all praises, honor, and glory to Yahweh, Bahasham, Yahweh Shai, Bahasham, Recha Kodash. Double honors to the elders and the apostles of Great Millstone, and peace and blessings to the elect. And today we're going to go into the book of Exodus, the 25th chapter. And so at this point, Moses has been called right up into the mount where he is with the Lord there to receive the instructions the Lord has for him. So this is Exodus 25:1. And the Lord Yahweh spake unto Moses, saying, Speak unto the children of Israel, that they bring me an offering. So when you go back down, go and basically, instruct them, right? Those that are willing to, right, of every man that giveth it willingly, for them to bring these items that would be offered to the Lord for the sake of the work that it would be used for that we're about to read. So as it says, if every man that giveth it willingly with his heart, ye shall take my offering. So anybody that's willing to give up these things, right? And this is the offering which ye shall take of them: gold and silver and brass, and blue and purple and scarlet, and fine linen, and goat's hair. These are all materials that are being used or that will be used for the building of the tabernacle, the Ark of the Covenant, and all the other stuff needed. And ram's skins dyed red, and badger's skins and shittim wood, oil for the light, spices for anointing oil, and for sweet incense, onyx stones and stones to be set in the ephod and in the breastplate, which later on we will, it goes into detail, not in this chapter, but later on it goes into detail as to the design of the breastplate and all of that. And let them make me a sanctuary, that I may dwell among them. And this was the tabernacle, right? Remember, the first tabernacle was built right in the wilderness, along with the ark. All right, and that's basically how the Lord would dwell among us. According to all that I shew thee, after the pattern of the tabernacle, and the pattern of all the instruments, or the utensils and the tools and all the things that come with it thereof, even so shall ye make it. So the Lord showed Moses, now it doesn't say exactly how, but he showed Moses the pattern and the design of how this should be built. And they shall make an ark of shittim wood, 2 cubits and a half. And an ark is like a box, rectangular or square like, of shittim wood. 2 cubits and a half shall be the length thereof, and a cubit and a half the breadth thereof, and a cubit and a half the height thereof. And thou shalt overlay it with pure gold. So you would make it with wood, and then you would coat it or plate it with gold. Within and without shalt thou overlay it, so it will be completely covered in gold. And shall make upon it a crown of gold round about. And that crown is a design that would go around the ark. So I pulled up here, there are many different depictions of it, but I pulled up here a random one, and this is like the design, right? All around, all 4 sides of it. So going back to verse, where we at? 12. And thou shalt cast 4 rings of gold for it. Casting is like when you make the shape, and then you pour, because it says of gold. So you pour the gold, the molten gold, right? The hot gold that's now melted, into the shape, and then let it cool down. And then it would basically take that shape like a ring. So let me see here. Casting a ring of gold. Okay, that's cool too. I mean, this is to be used to make the shape, but let me see here. Molten gold cast. Yeah. So you see this, just like they make swords and they make different shapes of things. They get the shape, and then they pour the hot or melted gold or whatever in it. And then once it cools down, and then, they cool it off, it will come out. It will harden into that and take the shape of whatever they poured it in. So it says here, cast 4 rings of gold for it, and put them in the 4 corners thereof, and 2 rings shall be in the one side of it, and 2 rings in the other side of it. So like this, you would have rings here. This one doesn't show it too well, but you have 1 ring here, 1 ring here, 1 ring on that side, and 1 ring on the other side over there. And they sort of did it this way. Another example is here, and this you'll see why as we keep on reading. So you have 4 rings on the 4 sides, the 4 corners, and thou shalt make staves of shittim wood, and overlay them with gold. And thou shalt put the staves into the rings by the sides of the ark, that the ark may be borne. The word borne means to carry with them. So this way, you're not touching the ark directly, right? So you have the staves that go through the ring, and then when they need to carry or bear the ark, they would be able to hold the 4 ends of the staffs and then carry it that way. Verse 15, and the staves shall be in the rings of the ark, they shall not be taken from it. So you're not supposed to remove them from it. And thou shalt put into the ark the testimony which I shall give thee, which is the laws, right? What's inscribed in the tablet, because it's the testimony of the covenant. And thou shalt make a mercy seat of pure gold, 2 cubits and a half shall be the length thereof, and a cubit and a half the breadth thereof. And thou shalt make 2 cherubims of gold, of beaten work shalt thou make them, and the 2 ends of the mercy seat. Now what this means is, let's see here. Let's keep clicking that. See if I can find a better depiction. Let's type in here, Ark of Covenant with mercy seat. Okay. So, I mean, these are all based on, people's depictions and imaginations of it. But suppose, yeah, any one of these we can just use for example's sake. So if we have, let's say we take this, right? The mercy seat would be in between the 2 cherubims, which are angels. And as we're reading here, the Lord says, you make the mercy seat of pure gold, right? He describes the measurements of it. And then you make 2 cherubims, 2 angels of beaten work. When you go into that, it's like, let's click into that. It says hammered work, finely decorated cultic objects of gold and silver, rounded work, i.e. molded by hammering. So what this is, you're not designing a cast and then pouring gold into it. You're sculpting these out of gold. All right. And that's why it says, of beaten work shalt thou make them in the 2 ends of the mercy seat. So you have on the one side the cherubim and the other side the cherubim. Verse 19, and make 1 cherub on the one end and the other cherub on the other end. So on opposite sides, even of the mercy seat shall ye make the cherubims on the 2 ends thereof. So the mercy seat and the cherubims were to be one piece. Okay, they were to be basically sculpted in one piece. So just like if you know how sculpting works, you take like a giant brick of something and then you start to chisel away at it until you get the design perfectly. Let's look up here at some fine sculptures. Yeah, so all these right here that you see, these different designs, and they can be very intricate. They start off as a giant block, right? Let's see, process. I don't want to have to play a video of this, but I just want to see sculptures starting point. Start point. Lord have mercy. All right, so let me see. Let's try one more time. Sculpting material. sculpting brick. All right, you know what? I'm not doing this right now. But the point is, they take some material, stone, clay, whatever, and then they sculpt, they chip, they use different tools to eventually, get the nitty gritty details, and then it takes a certain shape. So it's saying here, basically, it should be all of one piece that you make this out of. Verse 19, and make one cherub on the one end and the other cherub on the other end. I think I read that. But we'll read it again. Even of the mercy seat shall ye make the cherubims on the two ends thereof. And looking at this in the NLT, it says, make a mold the cherubim on each end of the atonement cover, making it all of one piece of gold. Right? In the NKJV is the same thing. Make the cherubims at the two ends of it one piece with the mercy seat. So it's all connected. And the cherubims shall stretch forth their wings on high, covering the mercy seat with their wings. And that's why you have this image here, right, where they're facing each other. And their faces shall look one to another. That's hence facing each other. Toward the mercy seat, because it would be between them, shall the faces of the cherubims be. And thou shalt put the mercy seat above upon the ark. So I guess it would be like a lid. And then within the ark, it says, and in the ark thou shalt put the testimony that I shall give thee, which would be on the stone tablets. Or let me not say stone, but let's say the tablets, because that's how it was worded. And there I will meet thee, and I will commune with thee from above the mercy seat, from between the two cherubims which are upon the ark of the testimony. So once the Lord established the ordinance later on, the mercy seat, when his glory would come down, that would be basically where, that's why he says, there I would commune with thee. That's where his presence would be. Of all things which I have given thee in commandment unto the children of Israel. So the things concerning the testimony or the commandments, I will commune with you concerning that on the mercy seat. Right? So let's look at this in the NKJV. And there I will meet with you, and I will speak with you from above the mercy seat, from between the two cherubim, which are on the ark of the testimony, about everything which I will give you in commandment to the children of Israel. Thou shalt also make a table of shittim wood. 2 cubits shall be the length thereof, and a cubit the breadth thereof, and a cubit and a half the height thereof. And thou shalt overlay it with pure gold, and make thereto a crown of gold round about. So just like the ark, you would also make that design of that crown right all around this table. And thou shalt make it into a border, make onto it a border of an handbreadth round about, and thou shalt make a golden crown to the border thereof round about. Let's look at this in the NLT. Decorate it with a 3-inch border all around, and run a gold molding, which is that design, along the border. And thou shalt make for it 4 rings of gold, similar to the ark, and put the rings in the 4 corners that are on the 4 feet thereof, so that this table could also be carried when transporting it. Over against the border shall the rings be for places of the staves to bear the table. So you would place the 4 rings at the 4 borders or the corners of the table, so you can put the staves through them and then carry it. And thou shalt make the staves of shittim wood, and overlay them with gold, that the table may be borne or carried with them. And thou shalt make the dishes thereof, and the spoons thereof, and the covers thereof, and bowls thereof, to cover withal. Of pure gold shalt thou make them. These are the instruments or the utensils. And thou shalt set upon the table shewbread before me always. So there you go. That's why we have the shewbread. And thou shalt make a candlestick of pure gold. And this is where it gets into the design of, today it's called the menorah, right? But that's basically where you get it from. Now it does look slightly different from, like today when you look up a menorah, it's more smooth. But if you look up here, the candlestick, Exodus 25, it'll look something like this. And as we sort of go through the the description, you'll start to see why it looks more like this as per the design. And once again, these are all, as close depictions as you can get based on what you read here, because we don't have the original ones that were made. It says, and thou shalt make a candlestick of pure gold, of beaten work shall the candlestick be made. So this would also be basically, sculpted in one piece. His shaft and his branches, his bowls, his knops, and his flowers shall be of the same. So when you go into that, the shaft, which is like the stem, and these are the branches, right? And it says here, his bowls, which is the cup or the bowl, which would be the top, okay? Because that's where you got to put the whatever it's going to be burning, right? The candle, as we would call it. It says here, in his knops, let's go into that, which is the, oh, actually, okay, Slakia, no, the knop would be what I just described, right? The bulb, or the, as it says here, the capital, or the bulb, which would be where the actual candle would go to be burned, because this candlestick is to give light, so it needs somewhere to put the actual candle where it would burn. And his flowers, which is going into the design, once again, that's why it looks like this, okay? And for this part, I'm going to read this in the NLT because I think it's a bit clearer. So it says here, make a lampstand of pure hammered gold. Make the entire lampstand and its decorations of one piece, the base, center, stem, lamp, cups, buds, and petals. And that's part of the design. And 6 branches shall come out of the sides of it, 3 branches of the candlestick out of the one side, and 3 branches of the candlestick out of the other side. So you have 3 on one side, 3 on the other. 3 bowls made like unto almonds, with a knop and a flower in one branch, and 3 bowls made like almonds in the other branch, with a knop and a flower. So in the 6 branches that come out of the candlestick. So that's going into the design of each branch and how it should look. It says each of the 6 branches will have 3 lamp cups shaped like almond blossoms, complete with buds and petals. So that's why you see these 3 parts here that look like, that design. Okay, and once again, this is just a depiction, just to give an idea of what it would have looked like. Verse 34, and in the candlestick shall be 4 bowls made like unto almonds, with the knops and their flowers. And there shall be a knop under 2 branches and of the same, and a knop under 2 branches of the same, and a knop under 2 branches of the same, according to the 6 branches that proceed out of the candlestick. Once again, going into that design. There will be also an almond bud beneath each pair of the branches, where the 6 branches extend from the center stem. So that's why you have that knop here as well. So it's here, 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 and here, right? So you have these 2 branches, and then under it you have a knop, and these 2 branches, and then a knop, and then these 2 branches, and then a knop. Verse 36, their knops and their branches shall be of the same, and it shall be one beaten work of pure gold. And thou shalt make the 7 lamps thereof, and they shall light the lamps thereof, that they may give light over against it. Hence it's a candlestick. And the tongs which are snuffers thereof, and the snuff dishes thereof, shall be of pure gold. Of a talent of pure gold shall he make it, meaning when it's being designed, that's how much gold you're going to need. With all these vessels, because they're going to be using, gold. They're going to use a lot of it, so they need a lot of it. And look that thou make them after their pattern, which was shewed thee in the mount. So make sure this is exactly according to the design that was showed you in the mountain. And that brings us to the end of the book of Exodus, the 25th chapter. Lord willing, thou is edifying to the elect. In closing, I want to give all praises, honor, and glory to Yahweh, Bahasham, Yahweh Shai, Bahasham, Recha Kodash. Until next time, Shalom.